Well, Hong Kong is now in its fifth month of protests, which have hit the economy hard. And one of the city's most prominent banks, HSBC, unveils its quarterly earnings in a few hours' time. Well, the company, which was established in Hong Kong in 1865, broke its silence on the demonstrations in August, calling for a peaceful resolution. Joining me now from Sydney is market strategist Peter McGuire. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. How serious will Hong Kong's slowing economy, the protests, and the ongoing U.S.-China trade war impact the bank's third quarter earnings?
Well, good morning. What we're looking at is probably a pre-tax around about 11% washout as far as numbers, but a 1% growth in revenue. So it hasn't been a very strong quarter at all. And moving forward, it's going to actually be tougher, I think, probably going into the next quarter and 2 quarters and 3 quarters out. So it's certainly going to have an impact in the long run.
Tough next quarter and the following quarters, and you have the likes of Chairman Mark Tucker and Acting CEO Noel Quinn under pressure, basically to show investors how the bank plans to manage these issues while still boosting growth in Asia, which makes up more than 70% of its business.
Well, exactly right. Asia is the growth engine, and we're understanding what impact it's having as far as bankruptcies in Hong Kong. So they've got to shift their gaze, and that's a strategic move. But the issue at hand is what goes on as far as negative rates and low interest rate environments and earning capacity for banks globally.
And is the strategic move, Peter, cost cutting? Will that be reinforced by Tucker and Quinn?
Well, I think you're looking at the Financial Times said that you could see a 10,000 job cut, and there could be more actually across, there's these quarters moving forward. So job cuts are normally the way to move and to cut headcount. Naturally, that affects balance sheets. So this could be a great impact as far as HSBC and many of the other banks cutting headcount globally.
And there are reports as well that HSBC may partially exit stock trading in some developed Western markets and attempt to sell its French retail bank, which will definitely lead to thousands of layoffs.
Well, exactly right. Companies re-strategise and they see arms of their business that aren't performing, and in turn they move on those, sever the ties, sell it off at a loss or at a gain, and primarily focus on those other parts of the business that are showing upside. And we're going through such a large paradigm shift also with the introduction of virtual banks that are really competing against the mainstay, the large banks and the established, the 1865 banks that started, 150 years ago.
All right. Everyone will be waiting and watching the results of HSBC. Thank you so much for your insights. Peter McGuire joining us from our Sydney studios.